Well, I am holding in my hands tonight a letter unlike any I have ever read, a letter that I could never have imagined being written by anyone working in the United States Senate to anyone else working in the United States Senate. And we just got this, just got a copy of this. And so I am departing from what were my prepared remarks at this moment to insert this. Ed Sheleby's letter to Mike Lee's Senate staff says, in part, I knew Melissa Hartmann. Many people in this office did. She was a longtime friend of Senator Smith's who had seen her hours before she was murdered. So you'll forgive my candor as I speak through enormous grief. It is important for your office to know how much additional pain you've caused on an unspeakably horrific weekend. I am not sure what compelled you or your boss to say any of those things. Why would you use the awesome power of a United States Senate office to compound people's grief? Is this how your team measures success? Using the office of U.S. Senator to post not just one, but a series of jokes about an assassination. Is that a successful day of work on Team Lee? Did you come into the office Monday and feel proud of the work you did over the weekend? As of tonight, the answer to that question is Senator Mike Lee has no decency. And Senator Mike Lee's staff now live in the disgrace he has visited upon them, and they all have a moral choice in front of them now. Mike Lee purports to be a man of great religiosity, but he is obviously not a man of great morality or great decency, and his staff has to decide tonight what to do about the disgrace he has handed them.
Mike Lee needs to go bye-bye. For all of y'all that haven't figured this out yet, Mike Lee said posted some awful things on X, Twitter. I dead name it because he dead names his daughter. It's kind of sick what he and others, somebody literally called it a leftist false flag. Mm-hmm. Some MAGA podcaster wrote, I guess, or said on YouTube, Minnesota suspected assassin vents. Now, is it Bettler or Bolter? I've heard it pronounced Belter, too. I don't know. It's Boelter. Anybody know how to pronounce that name? Yeah. He was captured, but there's so many mysteries about this dark event in Minnesota, and there's a lot of disinformation out there. We're going to go through the facts on the program. What the hell's happening here? It's a massive false flag. Nothing made. Nothing seems to make sense. The man went after not only the four people that he shot, and the dog. Don't get me started on that poor family having to euthanize that dog on top of everything else they're going through. He also went after two other people. And when cops showed up to the senator's house, they thought he was a police officer.
Yep.
Because of the SUV, the lights were going, and he had the proper uniform on. Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph Thompson revealed that the alleged murderer was donning hyper-realistic mask and wearing police gear. He visited two other homes. He traveled to the home of...
I don't know if that mask was hyper-realistic. I saw the Ring,
video.
Doorbell photo of it, and it wasn't hyper-realistic.
It's just realistic.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It was obviously a mask.
Well,
yeah.
But he rang the doorbell of State Representative House at 2:24 a.m., and was dressed as a law enforcement officer wearing a tactical vest, body armor, and a handgun and a flashlight, wearing the, quote, same hyper-realistic silicone mask. The state representative was not home, thankfully. So they were on vacation, so she and her family were lucky. Then he traveled to the state senator who lived in New Hope, parked in the street, and yada yada at 2:36. Once police in New Hope learned of the shooting at Hoffman's home, they were instructed to do a wellness check on the state senator who lived in the area. They saw his car and mistook it for a police car. When the officer arrived at the scene, she saw his black SUV parked down the little block, and he was just sitting in there. He just sat there and stared straight ahead. So she didn't think anything until the rest of the police came. So that's why, even though they saw him ahead of time, they didn't stop him.
Right.
Like they unfortunately should have.
Yeah.
I think why she didn't like knock on the window and go, hey, what's going on? That's my question to that police officer. She sees him. He's staring straight ahead. Why aren't you engaging with this cop who you think is already there on scene? I don't understand her thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, but the everything, this is from the MAGA podcaster, everything there seems to be a massive constellation of disinformation and everyone pointing fingers at each other. So we're going to go through the cold, hard facts. I want to show you evidence on screen. We can only assume that we're not getting the full picture. These are the same agencies that brought you the Whitmer Fednapping, brought you January 6th, and brought you the Epstein cases that brought you...
What? This guy thinks the federal government was trying to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer?
Yeah.
All right.
And Ghislaine Maxwell, they're the same people. So we're not going to show you... So we're going to show you all the available evidence, and we're going to talk through it, like what's actually happening here. It's a very, very strange, very dark, and very evil. Something's wrong in Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen. Horror in the heartland. I guess his name... Kremlin paid serial plagiarist Benny Johnson, who moments ago had Eric Trump on his show. Oh, it's Benny Johnson is the guy's name.
Yes.
Okay, he had Eric Trump on his show to boast about Donald's new phone thing.
Yep. Oh yeah, they were the Trump boys were doing commercials for it on every single MAGA show yesterday.
Oh, good God.
There was so much audio I could have gotten, but I didn't.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But all of these right-wing conspiracy theories about the shooting in Minnesota have really permeated the MAGAsphere. I don't know if you heard Don Jr. on News Nation yesterday.
Oh, he denied.
News Nation had to correct him in real time.
Yeah, they did.
Here it is.
Everyone talks about Minnesota, but they don't talk about the guy seems to be a leftist. It's a Minnesota politician, or guy who was appointed by the Democrat governor, vice presidential candidate for the Democrat Party, Tim Walz.
Now, I'm not sure about that, by the way, from what I've seen. I think he voted for your dad and things like that, from what I've seen.
I'll believe that when I see it.
That's what his roommate said, Donnie.
Right. We have so much evidence to the contrary, but none of that evidence is permeating into the MAGAsphere.
Well,
and so everybody in MAGA believes that this guy was a leftist.
Because MAGA doesn't get outside. Do you think we're in a bubble? I mean,
just saying that's what we are up against.
Well, News Nation is part of that sphere, so at least they tried to push back. I think there are certain networks that don't want to be sued for $1 billion. So I think some of them are, their lawyers are like, please don't let this go, kind of thing. But yeah, it is because they want to believe that. And it's like, first off,
it suits their narrative.
They all think that like every other news source is lying to them.
Right.
It's the psychology of it is insane.
It is,
but it is what it is.
It boggles my mind when the actual news is out there. His roommate said so. You're not believing his roommate.
And this is why I don't think that Gavin Newsom was quite the villain that everybody portrayed him to be when he goes into these places and tries to inject some truth.
Going in is one thing. Inviting them in is another.
He invites them on his show to inject them with some truth.
Gavin Newsom is like our toxic ex that we can't keep away from,
I think he might have gone about it the wrong way, but I think Newsom has a point. We need to inject some truth into the MAGAsphere somehow. We need to venture into those spaces somehow and get the truth out there because they're not doing it.
No, I agree with the sentiment. Like when he would go on Fox News. That I agree with. Go on Fox News, go on Newsmax, go on OAN, go on all those places. I don't have a problem with him going to them because he's very good at debunking them on their own turf. But when you invite Charlie Kirk on, when you invite Steve Bannon on, you're inviting them. That's why his ratings or his downloads have pummeled because MAGA's not watching him.
It also wasn't a very interesting show.
Well, there's that. But I mean, it was doing well.
He didn't do a good show.
But I mean, regardless, according to reporting, his downloads or streaming or whatever has gone down by such a large percentage. Obviously, MAGA wasn't watching anyway. So,
but he was talking to the tastemakers of MAGA, and
they're not going to report back what they said, what he said to them.
You know what? At least he tried.
Yeah, I did. No. I think going on Bannon's show is one thing. Having Bannon on yours is another.
You can't complain about everybody being so divided and then encourage people to be divided.
No, but there are certain people like a Steve Bannon and like a Charlie Kirk that are never going to tell the truth. And we all know that. And even if he got them to admit to something on his show, do you think
every once in a while Charlie Kirk does tell the truth?
I know, I hate it when I agree with him.
Exactly. And so you just sat here and said that he never tells the truth.
On occasion. So a stop clock is right, twice a day too.
And so, Newsom was trying to be that stop clock.
But my view is then go on Charlie Kirk's show, go on Steve Bannon's show. Because then the people that watch them are going to watch you. Do you see the difference? He's going to reach MAGA that way, not his way.
Yeah, but you're insisting that MAGA open up to the left without insisting that the left open up to MAGA.
No, I'm saying that okay. Certain people in MAGA are never going to change their minds. Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk are two of them. They're just not. They haven't yet. They continue to blow smoke up Donald's big fat orange behind. I mean, they don't. The only thing right now that's breaking MAGA apart is Iran.
Then we're going to be forever divided.
30% of this country will be divided from 70% of this country always. It has been since the dawn of time.
Well, you can't complain about the country being completely divided and then not do something about it.
It's not completely divided. There's about 25-30% of the voting public, I got to be very specific on that, voting public that is divided from the other 70% of the voting public. There are some people that are Republicans and are conservatives that will come and see the truth. For instance, Joe Walsh, who was a Tea Partier. He saw the light. Your Steve Bannons and others so far, if history is representative, do not see the light and don't want to.
Hey, are you traveling this summer? Will you leave instructions for your house sitter, the name and number of your vet, maybe, the code to your alarm system? Think about the steps you take to prepare for vacation, and you'll get a sense of what goes into a Knockbox. Just go to theknockbox.com, use the code Stephanie. Knockbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans for your next of kin. Each Knockbox, that's Knockbox, comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps ensure you add everything they'll need to manage your estate when you are gone. From your funeral directives to your insurance policies, even the keys to your storage unit, the Knockbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Knockbox. Right now, Stephanie Miller listeners save 16% off the Knockbox of your choice. Just go to theknockbox.com/Stephanie. That's theknockbox.com/Stephanie to get 16% off. Stay calm, get organized today.